Thank you, Steve. First at 5 tonight, a question of confidence. You know, 18th century author Samuel Johnson once said that self-confidence is the first requisite to great undertakings. That's what he said.
We usually associate a confident person with success. Whether it be in a sports field or in the business world, we often view those who are successful as being confident in their abilities.
That's true, but at the same time, we usually see overconfidence as a fault, something negative. People who are seen as too sure of themselves or cocky are viewed with disdain. But does being overconfident help or hurt someone's chances of success, we wondered?
That was the subject of a study done right here in the Maritimes this summer. CTV's Dina Bartolacci joins us live now with more on what the authors found. Dina.
Bruce and Star, we've all had to deal with that know-it-all at one point in our lives or another, whether it was in school or at work. Now, a lot of people suggest this might be a bad thing, but can overconfidence actually help someone succeed?
On the show. So we're going to put an end to the Scooter Junior Skippy Sport Tiger Booster Bull.
We expect our movie stars to be confident, maybe even overconfident.
Show me the money! Jerry, you better yell! Show me the money!
A staple of Hollywood has been the suave, even cocky main character. But in real life, is being overconfident really a good thing? That's what Mount Allison economics student Kirsten spent her summer looking into.
People aren't necessarily very good at estimating their own abilities, that they tend to think that they are much better at everything than they actually are.
Cornelson says her study reaffirmed something called the better-than-average effect. She found people think they're better drivers than they actually are. Amateur athletes think they're good enough to go pro, even if they're not. She says this attitude can also have a big effect on the economy.
5% of businesses will still be around after 5 years. But every entrepreneur thinks that they are going to be the one that succeeds. They think that, you know, they are so talented that this sort of doesn't apply to them. And so what you wind up with is too many people entering the market, and that pushes the failure rate even higher.
Neil Anthonison oversaw the study. He says overconfidence may be a coping mechanism developed through evolution.
People who actually do have a more accurate estimate of their true abilities, they're much more likely to be clinically depressed.
We asked some university students what they think of overconfident people. It seems the males and the females had very different answers.
And if they have a high ego, chances are they'll perform better in other aspects of life.
Overconfidence in sports is a lot more important because it shows that you know what you're doing.
Overconfident, maybe trying to seem overconfident and smarter than they are. That's really annoying.
Oh, it's really annoying because then they just keep interrupting the classes, I think. If they're overconfident, they ask a lot of questions just to make sure that everyone knows they're smart.
Cornelson says there is a difference in what men and women are overconfident about. Men tend to be more sure of their technical skills, while women are more confident about their social skills. But the reasoning behind the overconfidence is similar.
Sort of the obvious reason for this is that people like to feel good about themselves, and that, you know, when we sort of succeed, it feels good. Or, you know, when we think we've succeeded, it feels good.
Cornelson says the tendency to feel overly confident affects every aspect of our lives. How we feel about ourselves drives our behavior, and how we act determines what we do in our lives. And Star, an interesting thing I learned today while doing this story is that people who work on the stock market as traders, the male stock workers tend to trade a lot more often than female stock traders, and they tend to make less money than their female counterparts because they trade so often.
That's interesting, Dina. Thanks very much for that this evening.
You're welcome.
CTV's Dina Bartolacci reporting live for us tonight from Moncton. Bruce?